So let's see all the weird shit that's been going on. So I got this crazy satanic sex call with Judge Lisa Davidson pulling her fuckery for years, right? Keeping me locked up. Let's see what dumb shit I got on here. Yeah, cool. Got my video. Nice. Um, right, my sister, my ex-wife. It's, you know, they lock me up. They poison me. They kill me. Right. I mean, the big one I remember was when I woke up in an ambulance. I was in CM camp in prison, right, which is the prison of prisons, right? Like when you get in trouble, they send you there, right? I'm in the prison of prisons, and they starve my ass, and I fall, I faint, and they act like, I guess, I mean, this is the second I heard about, like I got 4 shots of Narcan. They broke a rib. I wake up in an ambulance, and I apparently have been flatlined for 6 minutes, and they're like, "Holy shit!" Right? That's just you know typical, right? People are stealing my fucking ID, stealing my inheritance, going around buying houses, cars, living a fucking dream on my shit. I don't even know this inheritance even exists. I don't even know what the fuck's going on. You know what I mean? I was like, what the fuck? I mean, you get it? Like, could you beat down somebody any more than that? Like, that's what we're dealing with here. We're doing, you know what I mean? Like, as you're walking down the street and you just get invisible fucking darts shot in your left, and you're like, what the fuck is going on? Like, right? That's what's happening. Then it just gets worse. Like my ex best friend is using my ID and impersonating me. They're staging like fake funerals, death certificates, trying to set up a conservatorship. Then I find out my fucking boss is part of this, right? And his girl, and he basically trashed her. Like she had a great credit score and money, and they're broke, and they're fucking broke. And he's a fucking crackhead. You know what I mean? He tries to act like he's a crackhead, and they try and hire a hitman. Then they get busted forging all these docs and medical records and paying off medical people to fake the records, and a judge and some cops, and they're all getting busted. So now there's cops getting busted, judges getting busted, cases getting thrown out, right? Hitmen. There's been like 60 fucking hitmen. Like, what the fuck? What is even happening here? Like, huh? What the fuck is even going on? So I got the one circle with like my old friend impersonating me and driving around with this fucking chick that's like two-faced piece of shit, right? And they poisoned me. They put so much poison in me, they thought they would like kill an elephant, and it didn't work, right? I didn't even feel it, right? And they're like, the exact quote was, "I thought it was working. I thought it was working," right? And they're all like, and then I bust him because now I know what I saw my buddy. I'm like, hey man, there's a lot going on. Let's talk. And he's like, oh, let's talk tomorrow. Right. So in other words, he was hoping I'd die. Right. So then the next day, right, I'm like, I'm still alive. What doesn't kill us makes us stronger. And he's like, what? And then I'm like, I thought it was working. And then he just disappeared. Right. Ghosted. So there's my psyops. Ping! Sorry, Alex. Alex Jackson of Orlando. You fucking slimy little piece of shit. You little fucking weasel. You're like, that's all you are. You little fucking scumbag. Amy Helsley of Palm Bay. Yeah. That was you trying to poison me. Scott Klein, right, his wife Jane Dale, or his fiancee Jane Dale. They're the one in on it, right? Judge Lisa Davidson, 18th Judicial Circuit, Brevard County, Florida. Yeah, you're done. And let me go through all the judges because I've explained this in other. There's a code of judicial conduct that judges are supposed to adhere to, right? They take an oath. One of them is they're supposed to do their job diligently, right? Well, and then two, there's a thing in one of the codes says that if they're like become suspicious or like that another judge might possibly be doing something, have some impropriety, right? They're supposed to investigate and even fix it if they can, right? So I sent all the paperwork that clearly any fucking idiot could look at and see what Lisa Davidson did because I clearly explain it, show the law, have arrows like how come she did this when this isn't right? It's the same file that they used to bust her, right? But I sent it to the current chief judge, Steve Henderson, who's a piece of shit. And let me explain that, okay? Because I hired him years ago as my attorney. Paid him $5,000, right? He was so nice. Oh yeah. And then he just ghosted. 6 months. So I finally wound up sending him a letter like, hey man, are you gonna be my lawyer? Like, or do I need to get like a public defender? The next day, this little pussy sends his wife to the court to quit my case, right? And Judge Charles Roberts, you scumbag piece of shit, the judge is like, do you want him to quit? And I was like, no, I paid him. I'm just trying to find out what's going on. And then the judge is like, well, I'm going to let him leave. So the judge just let me. So he just took $5,000 for 6 months for nothing. Thanks, Steve Henderson, you fucking slimy piece of shit. Now, if I send you a packet, Steve, and it's got the entire fucking thing that shows every single fucking thing Lisa Davidson did, and you did nothing, so you didn't do your job diligently, clearly, right? And two, you lied. Either you're stupid and you shouldn't be on the fucking bench, or you lied, or you're trying to cover. Because I explained this. Judges have this immunity thing, but it only works if they have jurisdiction. And my case doesn't have jurisdiction, so that makes it a big problem, right? Because now they're at me all this time, and they're like, "Wait a second, we've had this motherfucker locked up for 10 fucking years, right? And we don't have jurisdiction. That means the prosecutor doesn't have immunity. None of the prosecutors, and there's a bunch. Samantha Barrett, you're a scumbag. You know that. I sent you an email, and I told you exactly what the fuck you did, and you didn't reply." So you know, because last time I sent you the same fucking thing, you sent letters to my probation officer trying to get me in trouble. So instead of like doing your job and seeing like, oh, this is fucked up, I should investigate, you just wanted to get me in more trouble. Yeah, so you're fucking gone, bitch. The whole state attorney's office is corrupt. It is. You can take my word for it. I say things and it happens, okay? So let's do an investigation. Let's do it. Every single judge in the 18th Judicial Circuit today in Brevard County is crooked. Every single one. I promise you. They all need to go. All of them. Every single one needs to go. I told you, I've talked about this before. There's 9 judges at the 5th PCA that didn't do their job. Either didn't read it, right? Because they all... I invoked a special rule of appellate procedure that says if you take a guilty plea, you normally waive all your rights to appeal. But there's a couple of exceptions, and one of them is you can appeal always the lack of jurisdiction. You get it? And I invoked that as my appeal. And when you do that, you file a notice to appeal, and you say, hey, I'm going to invoke this rule, and that's it. And then you write a brief, right? Right? Well, I did that, and Lisa Davidson denied it. Right, saying, oh, you took a plea, you waived your rights. So basically, she was ignoring or denying that rule of appellate procedure exists. Get it? Because it said I could. But she's saying, oh, no, you appeal. Well, she's lying, right? And you know how I know she's lying? Like, how can you prove that she's lying? Well, I'll tell you how. Real easy. She was the ex-chair of the Judicial Appellate Procedure Committee for the whole state of Florida. And twice in the previous 4 years, she had submitted that very rule of appellate procedure to the state Supreme Court to get passed. So she knows that rule exists. And to prove that she's on top of that she's doing fuckery, she's the ex-chair of the Judicial Ethics Committee for the entire state. So she knows about ethics. She knows about the code of judicial conduct. Why? You get it? Like, she knew exactly what the fuck she's doing, right? And that's clearly documented when I said. So all these people know this. And they did nothing. And then we want me to further prove it? Because there's further proof. They've known this for like the last 3 months. There's been all these secret little private meetings with the judges trying to figure out what the fuck to do with this. Just now, the last few days, she's been going through the ringer. She even checked into a fucking psych ward or some shit. Lisa Davidson, right? But I am still on probation. They haven't closed out my case. So in other words, for 3 months, they've known, and they refuse to let go. You get it? Because they know that the shitstorm is coming. They know. So they're like, what, how can we do this? And so I'm still sitting here on probation? What the fuck? They're all corrupt. They all have to go. They all got to go. And I just gave names. I tell you how they do it. I got it all. You're fucked. There's nothing you can fucking do. So start acting right. Like now. I mean, this fucking second, you crazy ass pieces of shit in the judicial system. You watch, because I'm not done, dude. This is just the start. And I'm going to tell you, if you're in government, and I don't care what level, I'm talking all the way up to DJT, okay? And you are a liar and a manipulator, and you're pulling some fuck shit, I'm coming. And there's nothing you can do. I can't die. You can't hurt me. And I'm the truth. So what are you going to do? Lie? What are you going to do? I'm coming. So what I'm suggesting, and the thing is, here's the funniest thing about these fucking cult people and these types of people that are fucked up, that are fucking up the world, right? Just so everybody knows, I'm the chosen one. I'm here on God's business. In fact, I'm here to fix God's business. And I know you don't like me saying that, but it's true. Because I think he's had control for thousands of years. And where are we at? I think we could do better. I think we could do better. I think we need a little upgrade. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, what the fuck's going on here, dude? What's going on in your watch, right? And I'm telling you, Judgment Day is this fucking close, people. And I'm the judge. And guess what? It ain't like you think. It ain't like, oh, I believe in Jesus Christ. I hate to tell you this. I've done a lot of interacting with the big man, right? Angels and all that shit. I've been revealed all that shit. He calls me, oh, you're my child. No one will touch you, right? I've never heard Jesus' name once. Never seen him. Now, I'm not saying he doesn't exist, but I'm just telling you, I don't know who the fuck he is. They never talk about him. And I say this, and it doesn't seem to irk any of them. And they tell me that I can go on unapologetically because I always do what's right. You get it? Like, I'm going to do it the right thing. That's what I do. Like, I can't lie to myself, right? And that's what I want, right? So they're not saying anything to me. I'm not getting struck by lightning, right? But when I beg God for help and he puts me in these horrible fucking situations because I actually fucking listen to him and do what I need to do, he never delivers. Never. He keeps me in squalor. He treats me like shit. He makes promises after promises. Oh, nothing ever happens, right? And he on his watch, he let me suffer for 13 fucking years. What? How does that make sense? Like, let's think about it. Give me a sensible argument. Well, oh, you were being really what God does is. Let me explain this. When karma hits, which is what's happening now, right? Karma is hitting all these people, right? And he's over there like trying to take credit. Like, see? He's like, no, dude, you let me rot for 13 fucking years. Now karma's coming back on everybody, and you're going to sit here and take credit. I was alone, mother. I was with you the whole time. No, you weren't, motherfucker. You were not. You were not there. Like, let's get that right now. You were not there, motherfucker. I did that. And I'm not trying to be an asshole. I'm not trying to like cause. I'm just looking at facts. Like, wait a minute. Like, you weren't fucking there, dude. And now you're trying to take credit for this. What did you do? You didn't do a fuck thing. like, now I'm sitting here begging you. I got like 50 fucking tarot readers that can like kind of see all this shit. You know what I'm saying? They're like, and I think people are starting to catch on. Like, wait a minute. What's going on here? Shit ain't adding up. And it doesn't add up. And I'm gonna throw everybody for a loop. The Bible, as we know it, right? All those books, the early books that they kept, right, which we'll get to, talk about Jesus Christ. And they started about, what, like 120 AD or something like that? You know what I mean? About 100 years. There's like this gap after Jesus' death, about 100 years. And then all of a sudden these books start. And they'll have the resurrection and all that shit, right? Well, then magically, like in the late 40s, they found the Dead Sea Scrolls, right? And it had all those copies of the Book of Enoch, right? Which didn't got taken out of the Bible and burned, right? Well, the Book of Enoch has all these stories that are basically like rewrites of old Sumerian stories, right? From the tablets. And it has a couple of unique Enoch stories that are actually pretty wild and accurate. But the weird thing is, at the end of the Book of Enoch, which was written about 200 years before supposedly Christ, right? Enoch is the son of man. It clearly states that. Enoch is the son of man. Well, wait a minute, right? And then the other problem is, like, not long after the Dead Sea Scrolls, that started like this big hunt. They're like, whoa. So they started signing all these fucking cases. Well, they found the Book of Thomas, right? And the Book of Thomas is interesting because Thomas was one of the disciples that walked with Jesus, right? And he wrote the book in his lifetime. So he's the only one that wrote the book while in his lifetime that actually walked with Jesus. And he talks about Jesus, right? But guess what? Big problem. He never talks about the resurrection. Isn't that kind of like a big deal? Like the climax, you know what I mean? Like, and it's a really big deal because the resurrection is what makes Jesus a supernatural being, right? So now you're like, well, wait a minute, who added that in? Because the guy that was walking around with Jesus in his lifetime didn't talk about it. So then these people that came around later that never walked with Jesus add all this Jesus stuff, and then you find that what is it? That first college, or whatever, that would have kicked out all the books of the Bible, like Enoch and all that shit. They got rid of Thomas, right? So why would you do that? Why would you get rid of those books? The ones that clearly show, like, wait a minute, there's no Jesus. And then there's one other problem. They did an editing problem. They missed like two little sections. Who's Melchizedek? Who's Melchizedek? Right? You bring up Melchizedek, and let's think about this. They very clearly go in Genesis about the whole genealogy. I mean, it's like a big deal, right? Well, Melchizedek's not from there. He's got no beginning, no end. No beginning, no end, right? No family, no lineage. He's not from that family tree, right? He's Christ-like. They say Christ is like him. Actually, they said Jesus is like him, right? And to show his power and status, God appoints Abram, who became Abraham, to basically lead the first special forces team, because he gets like 370 some dudes, and they go wipe out like 4 kingdoms. Right? So this is like the first God's handpicked fucking special forces, right? And they come back with this huge pile of loot, and they see Melchizedek, and they break off 10%. What? So God's handpicked fucking special forces go loot 4 kingdoms and come back to Israel and just break off 10%? Melchizedek was that dude. You know what I mean? And where'd he go? So he's a Christ figure that has no beginning or end. So he's immortal, and he's not from the lineage, but he's so powerful that God's special forces, the handpicked team, has to break off 10%. But we don't have a Jesus. And it even clearly says in some of the editions of the Bible, that's what's funny. Some of them, it clearly says that Melchizedek was a Christ. So if he was Christ, who's Jesus? And who's the God? It gets even better. Who is God? Who is this God? Because the God in the Old Testament was a jerk. The God in the Old Testament wanted us naked and happy and shut the fuck up and don't ask questions. You know what I mean? You got a Garden of Eden, just shut up, right? And he got very mad when, the evil serpent had the audacity to try to give Adam and Eve knowledge about civilization, right? So this God didn't want us humans to have knowledge. Okay, that's weird, right? Like, okay, that's odd. But even better, a short time later in the New Testament, there's a completely different God, a completely whole new psyche, everything. Like, what? So in other words, God was a fucking hardline dickhead for billions of years, and then in the relatively short period, had a complete psyche change. What's going on here, folks? Stay tuned.